So the first speech that we just watched was made specifically to try to explain why he was standing up and cheering immediately after Charlie Kirk got shot, right? And that one he's reading off of cue cards. But he didn't like the reaction that it got on social media because everyone obliterated him because he didn't realize that outside of his little bubble of dumbbells, everyone else has brains enough to know that his story is obviously a lie. And so now you get this one. Okay, no cue cards for this one. This is just him talking off the cuff. He's like, I'm going to give him the real now. And so let's take a look at what that looks like and see if you think he's a conspirator or not. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So a lot of huge updates on the case since I last was on here last night. So first of all, I want to say that we are leaving the point where there is any kind of hypothesis necessary to know what happened here, because now we are really starting to see exactly what happened here, because this was a conspiracy among a lot of people, and all of them are absolute idiots, and they're all going to get caught. Okay. And I'm going to show you some of these idiots in this video, but I'm just going to start with one quote right here just to get us rolling. So in case you guys have not yet heard, the shooter lived with his boyfriend who was transgender and was in the process of transitioning to female. Typical living situation for a far right extremist like the all these grifters on the left are saying online. And this is a quote from their neighbor. Okay, this is a quote from their neighbor. And also keep in mind, you have someone who turns around and starts cheering immediately after Charlie Kirk's shot. You also have a guy who asked specifically about trans mass shooters right before the shot happens. Both of those two guys have made public statements now on video that I'm going to show you. And these guys think they're smart. Like, they think that they're slick and they're going to get away with this. And it is like a genuine look inside of the window of how in this delusion world that these people live. Like, they are in another universe. Okay. They literally just conspired to commit murder on one of the most high profile people in the country. And they are out there acting like this is some kind of game. Like, they think this is like some game that they're going to win. It is crazy. Okay. Now, obviously it's all alleged, but this is coming together. Okay. Like, there's not going to be, this is all coming out. Okay. I can tell you that right now. Same way as when I first saw the video of Charlie, I could tell you guys, I'm like, look, it's not official yet, but he's not going to make it through this. Same thing. This is not official yet, but these guys are going down, and it's them. Listen to this quote. Okay. According to the New York Post website, a neighbor claimed 2 weeks ago, several people driving cars with out-of-state plates were seen going in and out. Quote, they did not give off a good vibe, the neighbor said. So just out of nowhere, all of a sudden they have, these out-of-state people coming in and out, in and out, in and out, a couple weeks before, before Charlie Kirk gets murdered. And if you think that there is not a genuinely militant branch of Antifa, you are wrong, obviously. Okay. Because that is what you're looking at right here. Okay. So we're going to get into all of that right now. Now, I want to say this too. I have been emotional would be the best way that I would describe my coverage of this case. And I've done a lot of reflecting in the last, here's what I'm going to say. Once we get through just kind of the stuff that is factual in this video, I have some other stuff to say. And I would encourage you to sit through it and just hear me out and just hear what I say about this entire thing, because it's important. Like, it's really important. So that is my request from the audience today as we get into this. All right. So the body language guy who I just subscribed to his channel, he's amazing. This guy is doing incredible coverage of this case. Oh, by the way, if you don't mind subscribing to my channel, that's generally how we do this. I say, if you're going to watch my content, just please subscribe. But, I haven't been asking for anything. I haven't been doing any ads. It just feels wrong in, given the circumstances of this case. But if you guys want to subscribe and also like this video, it would be very appreciated. Okay, so first of all, okay, so let's start right here, okay? Because, we're going through, some of the evidence that this was a terrorist cell that did this, okay? And so you're talking about, the number of people who made posts indicating in advance that this was going to happen. They made posts afterwards taking credit Okay, so we're going to look at that for a second.
Killer shared with his trans lover, and it is confirmed that it was a trans lover. Also, some clues are just in plain sight. Same transgender that was friends with Tyler's gay transgender boyfriend posted, "We effing did it," moments after Charlie's death.
Okay, so how about that? You know what I mean? How about that? Does that seem like something that a smart person who is living in like this realm of reality and, you know, isn't facing the death penalty for what they're, you know, indicating? Like a conspiracy to commit this murder, like you're facing the death penalty, all of you guys. Okay? And they're out there, "We effing did it." Okay? Which is at least a little bit more just like brazen and less thinking that you're smarter than everybody else who's watching, which is what these other guys are doing. The one who asked the question and the guy who was cheering. It's hilarious. That's one of my favorite pastimes, is watching people who are dumb as fuck try to behave in a way which they think they're smarter than everybody, where you're like, dude, you're like a goldfish trying to trick a human into whatever. Okay, like you're not pulling this off, right? But this, you know, "we fucking did it." You're all, okay.
We effing did it, and here are the receipts. This is just disgusting, the level of details, all the details that are coming out. Breaking: another far left trans account had prior knowledge of Charlie's assassination. That's now 6 transgenders that had prior knowledge of the murder. As of the recording of this video, is more than 20 that people are counting.
I told you guys. I told everybody this from the beginning. Did I not? I said, what's going to come out is that this was going to have been widely known in those communities. Widely known. And that is why I keep harping on lock every single one of them up. Anyone who was even moderately connected, anyone who was in a chat group that knew about this, if they have a signal group, a group text, anything, anyone who had foreknowledge that this was going to happen and did not alert authorities should go to prison forever. As simple as that. Okay? Like this, you guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know it when you see it. Like, okay. Check the news the week after that when you're facing the death penalty, idiot.
Online. 20. Where is the FBI? This account tweeted, "You guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news."
Yeah, so just putting it out there. Also, multiple trans people in the area posted on September 9th that, quote, "something big will be happening to Charlie Kirk tomorrow." This person right here, "You guys have something big coming soon. Just make sure you check the news and you'll know it when you see it." I saw multiple accounts post that. As a matter of fact, oh yeah, then you have this one. Seems mildly relevant. Another trans person here from Utah Valley State. "Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow, and I really hope someone evaporates him, literally. Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow." Oh my God, it's like they're all psychic or something, right? They're all psychic. They just all had a premonition that he was going to get murdered. Now, let's look at a couple of the people that anybody with a brain knows must have been involved in this, which is the guy who stood up and was cheering, okay? And then the guy who asked the question, right? This guy put this up yesterday or the day before when he obviously got identified as having jumped up and down and started cheering, because these guys live in an alternate universe. Okay, it's literally an alternate universe. Like you committed a murder, and then you stood up and cheered. Okay, and here's him trying to explain himself. And if you know what you're looking at, it's unbelievable how much information he betrays just from speaking at all, as you'll see in a second. Watch this.
The event opened with music, people throwing hats, and loud exchanges from different parts of the crowd. Some shouted offensive remarks directed at the LGBT community, while others made disparaging comments about the Prophet of Islam.
There you go. So right out of the gate, the first thing he said about the event is people scream disparaging comments towards the LGBTQ whatever community. Okay, first of all, I highly doubt that that's true. And second of all, even if it was, the fact that that was the first thing that stuck in his mind, we already know this dude is he's an extremist. Like he's one of these like completely off the rails woke people that like that's the front of his mind. So you already, as he is going to start trying to pretend that he's not one of these guys, he's already shown exactly what he is.
The atmosphere carried an energy of confrontation more than dialogue. The first debater tried to persuade Charlie to adopt Mormonism, but the exchange drifted into a disjointed back and forth of opinions. The audience eventually booed him off the platform. Another speaker raised the idea of restricting gun rights for transgender individuals, citing Donald Trump as an influence.
I don't understand why is he making all this introduction as in, let's talk about the what led to my behavior.
Exactly. Yeah. What are you talking about, dude? The only reason anyone knows or cares who you are is because you stood up and cheered after Charlie Kirk got shot. Why don't you explain that, as he does?
Began to reference statistics and posed a question. Charlie's response turned to the subject of gang violence as a part of the mass shooting statistics. At that point, I did not see what happened directly. My head was lowered while I listened. When I heard a sharp crack, at first I thought it might have been fireworks or a disruptive prank, so I looked up.
Oh, wait a second.
Like, this guy honestly thinks, like, these guys like wrote this out and thought that this was going to be some kind of shield from prosecution or something. It's like, here, just let me explain myself, okay? Like, there were people there that were screaming negative things towards the transgender community. Also, there were specific questions asked about transgender rights as it relates to guns, so on, so forth, etc. And as a trans terrorist cell, we decided that, them coming for our guns was a bridge too far. So the way that we made sure we're going to protect trans rights to own guns is we conspired with many other transgender radicals and we murdered Charlie Kirk with said gun. Like, okay, let me just make perfectly clear my stance on restricting gun ownership for trans people. I talked about this last week. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. You can't do that. Okay. That's not a thing that you can do. Like, you don't want anyone to start down that road, because then ultimately it's like, oh, why are you doing it? Oh, it's mental disorders. Oh, what other mental disorders are there? Well, how about ADD? You don't know, they're spontaneous, whatever. Like, you don't want to go down that road. Except now I'm kind of like, geez, I don't know, man. I don't know if there was this many of them that were on board with murder. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have guns. You know what I mean? Like, talk about the most counterproductive moment in history. Okay, I'm not actually supporting the restricting gun ownership for trans people, for the record. Okay, I am promoting the death penalty for all of these people, though, just so we're clear.
I looked up to the horizon for smoke. He is looking for a justification of why he was looking up at arm.
Yeah, so he's trying to explain why he immediately looked in the direction of the shooter, like as if there is some other reasonable explanation aside from because you knew he was going to be there. You know what I mean?
Okay, that is important.
My friend reacted in horror, saying Charlie had been struck. His voice and description told me how serious it was. Based on his reaction, I believe Charlie had been gravely injured. I instinctively checked the security team's movement, though I have no affiliation with them. Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives.
So basically,
this is the stupidest fucking story I've ever heard. Okay, like, this is the level of criminal that you guys are dealing with here. Like, this is, so you do the most self-incriminating thing of all time. You stand up and cheer right after Charlie Kirk gets shot, and you look directly in the direction of the shooter who just shot over your head to shoot at Charlie Kirk, and you cheer. And then when you get caught on camera, like, any dumbbell with one brain cell would have known, of course, everything's going to be recorded. It's a gigantic event. Okay. There's no one who's not going to be on camera. Okay. And a person who, like this, it's I don't even have words for how delusional and idiotic these people are. Okay. And so, yeah. Oh, but this makes sense. Okay. So, how can I explain this? Well, I was trying to I was shouting USA to distract from something or other to save lives. Yeah, right. Okay. If you didn't know that this was coming, okay, if someone just fired a rifle and shot the guy on stage, okay, why would you have any feeling of safety at all? Okay. Everyone reacts the same way, which is to duck, to hide, and to try to assess the situation, and they're terrified. Okay. People don't get murdered in front of you very often. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not a thing that happens. And so predicting people's behavior, very easy. Okay. Fear. The kind of fear that only comes with a life-threatening situation. Many people have never felt that. You know who has, though? Everyone at that event that didn't know that an assassin was going to shoot Charlie Kirk. Everyone else who dove on the ground to try to avoid themselves becoming a victim of a mass shooter. Like, the idea that anyone would feel comfortable at that place enough to jump up and cheer and make themselves a target if they didn't know what was going on is so stupid that it borders on insane to think that anyone would believe this. You know, like, it's unbelievable.
He wanted to do what Trump did at Butler, according to him. All right.
At that moment, no one knew whether this was a lone shooter or something coordinated. My friend was devastated.
It's like
he had admired Charlie deeply. He's like, yes, so I definitely am a trans radical. But you know, the person that I was there with, had deep admiration for Charlie Kirk. You just have to look at it and go, they must be used to not interacting with anyone outside of their group at all in real life. Like, this is what they look like to be. Every part of their behavior is that of people who have been detached from reality and are now coming back in and think they understand how things work. And they are like completely unaware that they're like a group of Amish people who now just got to New York City for the first time ever leaving their farm. Like, that is seriously what these guys look like to me. It's unbelievable. Now, check this out. Okay, so the first one you just saw, that was this guy, like, where he had actually, like, he had prepared that speech, right? So that one you could see he was reading off of cue cards. Okay, so after he puts up the one where he's reading off of cue cards, talking about how people admired Charlie Kirk and that, this was, he stood up to distract and hopefully save lives. Okay, well, he didn't like the reaction to that, right? Because people obliterated him online because, of course, they're like, no one believes you, idiot. And so now he comes back and he does this second one, okay? So the second one, no cue cards, right? So now you get to see what this guy actually is, okay? Now, you just tell me how he comes off. All right, let's watch this genius's off-the-cuff take now.
You know, all this chatter is absolutely incredible, but I'm actually really burnt. I'm honestly like the happiest person you have ever met in your entire life.
Yeah, he comes off real happy. By the way, the reason I keep cutting off Body Language Guy is specifically because I don't want to step on his commentary because it's really good, So I would encourage everybody to go watch his after you watch the entirety of this video, because I'm telling you, I have good points to make at the end.
I'm absolutely sick of all of my soldiers, including Charlie, dying.
He just said that he barely knew Charlie from his content, and now he's saying that Charlie is one of his soldiers.
So you guys can mock each other. Mock away and see what happens. I am done with my soldiers dying while everyone just mocks each other.
Oh, yeah. Hey, he's not coming off like a trans radical terrorist at all. Like, what? Oh, wait, your soldiers dying. Like, who are you talking about exactly? And what are you referencing? And this seems like you're being very threatening, which is why? Like, what's going on, buddy?
Mock, mock, mock. You think that that's a solution? Every major religion speaks out against mockery. And I saw mockery. And I saw a mob just energized with mockery. Absolutely laughing. This is John Oliver. This is Matt Walsh. This is Louder with Crowder. This is all the mockery that's existed on both sides of the equation. And it's killing my soldiers, my people. And I'm done.
No.
Okay, so again, could this guy have possibly done a better job of validating for absolute 100% sure that he is exactly what we're saying? Like, do you have any questions about this guy anymore? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but at this point, I'm willing to bet the vast majority of my net worth that these guys are involved. Okay. And or that he was involved, right? Let's see how you feel about the guy who asked Charlie the question about trans violence right before, especially given that we now know that there was like every transgender person in this little, Trantifa bubble all knew what was coming. So let's just see how convincing his story is.
People have obviously pointed to the irony that the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot. And that only makes sense if we stay peaceful.
Wow. Like that's so clever and so profound. Like, yeah, you got me, guy. You got me. Now, why don't you continue your story and let's just see how believable it is, though, once we get, that's a good opening line. This guy thinks that this is like the CIA level of Trantifa, right? Like he's like a sleeper cell guy. He's like, listen, man, I'm a sleeper cell. I just come off so unassuming and no one knows that I'm one of the most devious of all of them.
And as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I'm on the record for how much I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but like, man, dude, he is still a human being.
Well, I'm sold, guys. I think he really means that. Except for the part where I saw him tell the rest of the story, or read what he said about the rest of the story. And what he said was that he actually wasn't as afraid as he would have anticipated because he knew someone that was in a mass shooting or something. And he's like, yeah, it was when the shots started, I was scared, but then I realized this is clearly a targeted assassination. Charlie Kirk was the target, and now that's over, so no one else is in danger. No one else here is in danger. And I'm like, guy, it's cute that you played the, he's still a human being thing. You thought that was going to, just throw everybody off the scent, but there's no one who would just assume that it's a targeted assassination at a college event when someone starts shooting, okay? Like with all the mass shootings and shit, that's absurd, okay? Now, let's see if this, let's just see if this, impacts your opinion on this guy. Oh, cool. There's his bedroom. And over there on the left here, that is, as we understand it, an Antifa 3 arrows, okay? So this guy, the one who asked that question, and, the implication being maybe he was part of a large conspiracy that included like the entire radical trans-Tifa group. Maybe he was in the know. But the good news is that they are getting into all of their messages, and they're going to get got, dude. Now, here's another thing is, so Discord came out and said that they said that no planning, no none of the violence was planned on their platform, but they've deleted all of his stuff already because he violated off-platform guidelines. You're all okay. I just want to make sure. Let me just make sure though that you say this publicly, Discord, but then you turn over the actual messages to the FBI, because you have to be kidding me. You think anybody's going to believe that? Oh, yeah. No, they weren't planning it on Discord. This is going to look terrible. They've already got the guy, right? Like, what benefit could there be to us turning over the records and everybody finds out that Discord is where they plan this horrific assassination? And then also we would probably get uncovered that we are the central hub of, these rabid Antifa leftists, So I am very hopeful that they're not able to actually scrub those. And it's like, if no one should have to take Discord's word for it, that none of that planning happened on that platform. You know what I mean? So, and by the way, this is the shooter's boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, trans person that he lived with. And now we're going to bridge into the section that I promised you guys at the beginning, where I'm going to give you guys some thoughts that I think are very important to keep in consideration when looking at this, because the country is on the line right now. And there's just no question about that. Like, this is an escalation that's way beyond anything that we faced in our generation, and everybody needs to be aware of what's on the line. The reason why this is so important to drill down, okay, is because this is not like other cases, right? Like, this is really important. And again, don't worry, I'm going to get to all this other stuff, and I'm trying to save my thoughts for afterwards, because I don't want to derail this before I give you guys all the information. But this is the most important thing for us to accomplish here, is to identify exactly who did this, exactly why they did it, and how they ended up indoctrinated to a point where this many of them would participate in a thing like this, because these are Americans that did this. Okay. Like they are the worst of us. Okay. Like Charlie Kirk, I don't, and again, I want to save most of this for later, but Charlie Kirk was the best of us. He was the best of us in this country. He was doing something that he believed would be like, he was basically dedicating his life to the betterment of the country in the way that he saw it. Okay. I'm not saying everybody has to agree with everything that he said or did, but he was trying to lead the country to be better and be better to our neighbors. And all of those things was all what he was doing. And he got murdered by the leftover rag people that literally are essentially equivalent to homeless people, right? Like they might have an apartment, but they contribute nothing except for hatred, violence, and made up stories and delusion. They're the ones, the best of us got killed by the worst of us. Okay. And that doesn't mean that every Democrat that exists is somehow culpable for this. Okay. But who is culpable after today are any of these people on YouTube or anybody who are still trying to spread the idea that this guy was a right-wing extremist, because now it's a fucking lie. Okay. It's not like, oh, it's there, mixed. It's a lie, an intentional lie. Okay. And it's an intentional lie that is self-preservation in the place of us all acknowledging that this is not like things, if you can't even rationalize how big of an escalation this is, I'm doing exactly what I was trying not to do. But these guys murdered Charlie Kirk, okay? A terrorist cell, a domestic terror cell killed Charlie Kirk, okay? Killed him, murdered him. And then culturally somehow it was acceptable for people to be excited about this. Okay, like, if you think that it doesn't matter who did it, whether it was an extreme right person or an extreme left person, if you think that doesn't matter in this case, you're a moron. Like, it's just a game of whack-a-mole where you're trying or throw the ball over the fence. I want to see Kyle Kalinske just acknowledge, like, yeah, this guy looks like he was a trans terrorist. Okay, it doesn't mean that you are on the losing team, guy. I don't think that you're plotting assassinations. I think you're a self-serving, smug idiot who smirked about Charlie Kirk's death. But like, dude, you're not culpable in this. Why are you trying to pretend that this guy's right-wing? Because his family were registered Republicans? So what, dude? He was a trans radical. Okay, like there's no even like middle ground here. It is absolutely clear exactly what he was. So again, the left, like honestly, I believe seriously at this point, given the gravity of what's going on, anyone on the left that is spreading lies to make it seem like this guy was not what he is creeping up on culpable after the fact. Because to me, it looks like they're running cover. Because at the end of the day, the facts are the facts. Okay, so the fact is, yes, he was raised in a conservative Mormon family, registered Republicans. That is accurate. Okay, now your interpretation of that fact being as self-serving as you could possibly make it is, oh, that makes him right-wing. Well, that's not true, though. That's not true. And as a matter of fact, the fact that his family was conservative actually bolsters our position of how dangerous this ideology is. They radicalized this guy to the point where, coming out of a conservative family, goes to college, he comes back completely brainwashed, radicalized, living with a transgender person who is also probably in some way connected to what they did. Like, I don't care if people are trans, dude. Like, just to be clear, okay, like, you guys want to, like you want to have this fucking conversation, all they say, oh, Charlie Kirk was spreading hate. Charlie Kirk spreading hate. Oh, they're MAGA guys spreading hate. I don't care at all if you're trans, dude. I got love for everybody, as long as they are not hurting other people, okay? When I go hard in the paint on people, it's because I have deemed someone is hurting someone else. Like, if I ever come off as a bully, that only means that I have perceived the person that I'm bullying as a bully. I only bully bullies. I make fun of people who are retarded, but like, it's like our entire point is that, like, one of the major staples of our position is that we're not talking about just like people being trans. We're talking about a trans radical ideology, which not only is leading to violence, but more so what our concern was before this was like you're grooming young children who have impressionable minds into this like indoctrinated cult, which sometimes leads them going on puberty blockers when they're children, which is insane. Like, and listen, like I understand conceptually, I get it, dude, because I know there are actually transgender people. And for the real transgender people, if they would have just been able, if they would have had access to, you know, all the medical procedures that you'd possibly have from when they were like 4, then yeah, if you knew for 100% sure that a kid is trans and they definitely immovably as an adult want to live as the other gender, then yeah, sure, puberty blockers, I guess, makes sense. But the problem is there's no possible way for any of you to know that because they're kids. And so what's the greater good? So like to us, we're like, puberty blockers is insane. And you're going around telling people that like, oh, you just reverse it if you go off of them. What are you talking about? Where's the research on that? It's nonsense, okay? It's nonsense. And where are the long-term, I mean, it's like just the whole thing is like they take one thing that we're saying and they turn it, oh, they're spreading hate. Actually, we're spreading love and protection for children, okay? We're trying to protect kids. That's where our positions are. And that's the main point that I wanted to kind of try to end this video with. It's like, if everybody could actually see the other side as they are, okay? Like not as the caricature of what they, you know, I mean, there are certain things like you did this thing, that's what you are. Like anybody who's involved in this, this is what you are. The ship has sailed for you, man. You're a Trantifa murderer. You're done, dude. There's no like redemption arc for you. You're going to get the death penalty as far as I'm concerned. You're finished, okay? But for the people who are not that level of radicalized, just like your run-of-the-mill Trump voter, take me as an example. I will be that example for people, you know, and they're like, you voted for Trump? Okay, and then they start making assumptions about me. They're like, oh, he must hate gays and blacks. And be like, what the fuck? There are 0 people who know me personally that would ever say a thing like that. This is like completely provably untrue. Like completely provably untrue. Okay. My roommate was gay in college for my sophomore year. One of my best friends from high school. And the fucking racist thing is absurd. Okay. So no, not spreading hate. That's not why I voted for Trump. You know, like that's not why I voted for Trump at all. It would take me a long time to itemize to you why I did, but it had nothing to do with whatever you think the MAGA movement stands for. Oh, it's a Nazi hat. What? No, it's not, dude. It literally says, make America great again. Like, do you not see how zapped your brain has to be to see a hat that says, make America great again? And you assume that what that represents is some kind of like racist ideology, which you have no proof of whatsoever. Like, I mean, I'm going to end up way down a rabbit, but here's the point. The other side, right? Like the people who are over there who are not like full extremists, but are like the wokesters, okay? They think they're protecting gay people and trans people. They really believe that there is an assault on those people. Like they believe that. And they believe it because the media lies to them. The media spins and skews everything. The number of people who genuinely think that Charlie Kirk was some lightning rod of hate, it's unbelievable. That is just like the accepted narrative on the left. You're like, have you ever watched him talk? Okay, so the real villains in this story, aside from the murderers, is the media. It's the entire apparatus of social media and media that is intentionally creating destabilization and pitting us against each other. It's intentional. And so what my kind of closing point is like, I am no example of stay calm and don't resort to like extreme response. Okay. Like I am an incredibly passionate and very, very emotional person. And so like when I say like, you know, if I was at a Charlie Kirk memorial and some guy comes up and is like, fuck that Nazi. And I'm like, I'd probably hurt that guy. Like, I'm not saying it's a good thing at all. I'm actually using myself as an example of like why this situation is so dangerous. You know, is like, that's what they want. The globalists, when when a lot of people woke up to the way the world actually works and ended up on the side that we're on is when they realized that the people who really run the world, okay, are the globalists. And we know what their agenda is because they've announced it. Project 2030, okay, they want to remake the world. And what is critical to them remaking the world is breaking the United States. And they learned that because in 2016, for the first time in decades, someone won the presidency that they did not control. And that was Donald Trump. Okay. Like it was like a fluke thing. They almost certainly had him win the Republican primary on purpose to make sure that their top dog fucking Hillary Clinton would be the president. And they never thought in a million years that he could win. And then he won. And all of a sudden they've got someone in there that will not listen to them, who's running his own show and is making decisions for what he believes is best for the United States. I don't care if you believe that or not. That's what I believe. That's why I voted for him. Okay. Is he's making decisions absent the most corrupt institutions that have ever existed ever. Okay. Or the exact same corrupt institutions that have always existed. Okay. And they learned that if one person sits in the president of the United States chair and they're not with the program, it breaks their whole system. Okay. It breaks their whole system because the United States is so powerful and the president has so much power that it breaks their entire thing. And so what's their solution? Right? They look at the internet. They know they can't control the internet. They know they can't control information flow anymore. They do their best, but they can't. Okay? So what's the solution then? If they want to control the world, they have to break the United States. The United States can't be a superpower anymore. The United States cannot have the amount of global influence and control that it has, because if they lose one election, that takes away all of their control. Okay? That is what's going on. Okay? The destabilization is the globalists. That's what they're trying to do. They want to break us. You think that they printed $10 trillion or whatever during COVID and that was just some random thing that happened? Okay? They're driving towards economic collapse on purpose. They're driving us to fight each other on purpose. They want us to fight. They want to break the government. They want us to collapse. It's what they want. And so as much as it is like painful, like I'm not going to say that like you're in the wrong if you slap the shit out of somebody who comes to a funeral and is disrespectful. Like I don't care what social media platform they were on that taught them that. You don't get to do that, dude. You get that smug fucking face ripped right off your face. Slapped off of it. But no more guns, dude. Okay? No more guns. No more shooting people. I like heavy duty country solution. He's like, we should just get a fight, dude. Just set it up. We can just go fight. And honestly, with the Antifa people, just to make it fair, like I'm good with them having batons. Like we'll go, you know, we'll go here. They can have batons. That can be their, you know, mitigating handicap since, you know, 1-to-1. I think we're probably going to be a little bit more physically fit and trained in martial arts than they will. But, you know, we'll give them a weapon. One that they would have to be able to hit us a million times to be able to actually kill us with, though. Right? Anyway. In reality, I would take that baton from them in 1 second and I would I'll make a lady out of them with it. Just kidding. But not really. All right. Love you guys. Bye-bye.